Well, 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 look who's wandered into the shadowy labyrinth of Machiavellian dark psychology, a world where the puppeteers lurk, their strings slick with deception, and their eyes gleam with the promise of chaos dressed as order. Welcome, brave dear souls, to the theater of manipulation, where the manipulators reign supreme like sly foxes in a henhouse of trust. But fear not. This isn't a pity party. It's a cold, unflinching dissection of how these sly operators work their venom, and more importantly, how not to hand them the antidote wrapped in your own hands. Buckle up, because this isn't your grandma's fairy tale. This is a survival guide against the human equivalent of a spider weaving its web, patient, invisible, and utterly relentless. Manipulators, those charming vermin, don't just knock politely at the door of your mind. No, they pick the lock while smiling sweetly, wearing a mask so convincing it could sell sand in the desert. Their tactics? A buffet of emotional fast food, quick, greasy, and utterly addictive if you don't watch your intake. They speak the language of flattery dipped in poison, weaving compliments with strings of lies so fine you'll swear they're knitting a sweater for your ego. But don't be fooled. Behind that velvet glove is a claw sharpened on the grindstone of self-interest. They act like master chess players, always 3 moves ahead, sacrificing pawns, your trust, your time, your sanity, to capture the king, your autonomy. They specialize in gaslighting, the fine art of turning your mind into a hall of shattered glass, each fragment reflecting a different, confusing version of the truth until you can't tell illusion from reality. You're overreacting, they hiss with the sly venom of a serpent wrapped in velvet. That never happened, they croon, rewriting your memories like a twisted novelist inventing a new plotline. Their favorite trick? The classic bait and switch, offering you a golden ticket to paradise, only to sell you a one-way trip to confusion. Manipulation isn't just about lying. It's about controlling perceptions and emotions. If you've ever encountered a manipulator, like this video, subscribe for more insights and share your story below. Let's learn how to spot these dark tactics and stay ahead. And how do you spot these creatures in the wild? Like vultures circling over the carcass of your self-esteem, they hover where your defenses weaken. Their eyes glint with opportunism when you falter, when your guard drops for a moment too long. They're experts at identifying the soft spots, your kindness, your fears, your hopes, and then drilling in like an overzealous dentist. Watch for the inconsistencies in their tales, the micro-expressions that flicker like static on a bad television channel, and the way their charm turns cold when you refuse to play along. Challenging a manipulator is a high-stakes game of psychological chess, but the first rule is simple. Don't let them set the board. They thrive on access like a hacker on a neglected firewall. Deny them the password by fortifying your boundaries with the cold precision of a fortress wall. No must become your favorite word, sharper than any sword, more impenetrable than any shield. When they push, you push back with the unyielding force of a glacier, slow, steady, and utterly unforgiving. Remember, manipulators hate resistance more than a cat hates a bath. They prefer pliant puppets, not statues carved from granite. Unmasking their manipulations requires the patience of a tax auditor and the cynicism of a seasoned detective. Document their words, their actions, their patterns, because manipulators weave narratives that change faster than a chameleon on a disco floor. Keep a mental ledger of promises made and broken, of guilt trips taken and dodged, of the emotional roller coaster rides they offer free of charge. Once you start seeing the repetitive cycles, the rehearsed dramas, you'll realize they're less human and more a poorly written soap opera villain. But here's the cruel irony. Manipulators only have power if you hand it over. They are social vampires, and your blood is compliance. Refuse to bleed. When you stop reacting, when you stop feeding their need for control, they shrivel like neglected plants in a drought. Your silence can be their kryptonite. Refuse to engage on their terms. Instead, respond with the icy detachment of a glacier melting at a glacial pace. Almost imperceptible, but utterly relentless. Your emotional disinterest is the firewall that will short-circuit their schemes. Never mistake politeness for weakness. Saying yes out of obligation or fear is like giving a thief the keys to your safe and then wondering why your valuables have vanished. Learn the art of strategic ambiguity. Keep your answers vague, your intentions guarded, your emotions in a locked box with a combination only you know. Manipulators crave clarity because it gives them targets. Starve them of certainty, and watch them flounder like a cat in a swimming pool. And for the love of all things unholy, don't drink the Kool-Aid of self-doubt they serve with a smile. Manipulators excel at turning the mirror back on you, making you question your sanity, your worth, your very existence. But remember, a reflection distorted by their hands is not truth. It's a carnival trick designed to keep you dizzy and disoriented. Stand firm in your reality, even if it means standing alone. Because in the end, the only way to keep a manipulator out is to keep your gates locked tight, your walls high, and your mind sharper than a guillotine's blade. So, what's the takeaway for the would-be victims wandering this treacherous terrain? Guard your access like a miser with a hoard of gold. Question everything. Document everything. Refuse to be the stage for their puppet show. And above all, cultivate a healthy distrust. Not cynicism, mind you, but a wary skepticism that treats charm and sweetness as potential arsenals rather than gifts. Manipulators are wolves in the finest sheep's clothing. But even the sharpest disguise falls apart under the scrutiny of a clear, cold gaze. Remember, the best way to neutralize a manipulator is not to engage in their game at all. When you deny them the audience, the spotlight, the oxygen of your attention, they become nothing more than shadows on the wall, flickering and impotent. Access denied. Let that be your mantra, your shield, your last line of defense in this dark carnival of human cunning. Because in the theater of manipulation, the strongest are not those who wield the power, but those who refuse to grant it. Thank you for sticking with me through this cold, unvarnished journey into the heart of manipulation. May you carry this armor of awareness with you, sharper than any blade and heavier than any burden. Because in this world of shadows, vigilance is survival. Take care of yourself fiercely, guard your boundaries like the precious treasures they are, and remember, access denied is not just a phrase, it's your power. Stay sharp, stay guarded, and above all, stay free. Ciao for now, my dear. Take care.